just one drink. You probably think to yourself, you probably have in the past, just one drink won't hurt. But I'll tell you something, it's gonna hurt. I was sober for 8 years, I hadn't had any alcohol at all. And I thought, I'm feeling great. I was doing well. And everything was going pretty much to plan. Going to the gym a lot, a few holidays, good relationships with my parents, my daughter, all spot on. And then after this 8-year period, I thought, I met somebody and I thought, well, just one drink, I'll be fine. I'm cured, you know. I was very naive about alcohol, even going back to 2014. Only 10 years ago. But what happened subsequently, I had to become an expert in it really. However, the one drink I thought would be fine and become a social drinker again and live the dream of having a few pints and being normal, didn't happen. So I had the one drink, and it was only one drink, to keep the peace really and show this person I hadn't got a problem. I was still then quite anxious about telling people I had a drink problem. Now I'm obviously very open about it. And I remember the night in question because I just had about half a can. And in a way I was a little bit worried about having a drink, but I thought one's not going to do that much harm to me, is it? Not one drink. And it was a wheat beer that I got from Asda, you know. And I thought, well, that's fine. She's just going to think I'm a normal person now. I just don't drink very much, you know. And then I didn't have any more. I didn't feel any ill effects from one drink. But it triggers something in your brain. And you think you're going to become a normal, sort of use that expression again, a normal drinker, but you're not. You're not going to ever be a normal drinker once you're dependent on it. Because the addiction just sits there waiting to grab you again. It doesn't matter how long you've been off, whether it's 1 year, 2 weeks, 6 months, doesn't make any difference. As soon as you have one drink, you're back on it. It's got a 100% success rate of taking you back on it. So I had this one drink. And then after that, I had sort of a little bit more each weekend, even during the week. I didn't feel really that I was getting any benefit from it. I was just doing it to fit in, if that makes sense. Because when I was drinking heavily, I was really the king of the pub. I was in there all the time. And not all the time, but I drank a lot in my 30s and early 40s and whatnot. But when I got to 50, then I thought, you know, be a bit more sensible, try and cut down. That's why I was off for 8 years. So here's me naively thinking I'm going to be fine. After that, we went on holiday and I started drinking a bit more. Not because we're on holiday, I just thought I could handle it. This is the problem, you see, you think you can handle it, but you can't. But now I'm sober confident. No, I wouldn't drink again, but you think you can handle it, and then a couple of weeks later I was feeling a bit groggy. What happens with me is I can have a couple of drinks after I've basically started to relapse, and I think I'm all right, but then I fancy a bit more, or need a bit more, because the hangovers start to kick in a little bit. I feel a bit tired, a bit faint, a bit detached, all this sort of thing. So we've gone down to the south of France in this camper van thing. It was a bit stressful driving that, but I didn't drink and drive, obviously, especially not in Europe. And my background was ex-police anyway, so I wouldn't drink and drive. However, I started to feel a bit ropey, you know. I wasn't feeling very well when I was driving, so I kept saying, well, let's just pull in here a bit earlier than planned, really. And we sort of stayed there for a while in the other camps. I wasn't prepared to do a lot of travelling. This camper van was like driving one of those great big delivery vehicles. It was a bit difficult to drive, it was difficult to park, and it was stressful enough. So after a couple of weeks of just having a couple of drinks, I started to feel the need to have a bit more, because I didn't feel well the next day. It caught up that quick. It was more or less within a few weeks, really, a few months, and I was back to feeling unwell, feeling detached, feeling a little bit nauseous. Back to where I'd been 8 years before that, when I got sober. I'm thinking, why can't I just get back sober? Why can't I get back sober? Because I was desperate to get back sober, even when I was away, you see. Just have a few cokes or something. So I tried to infill it a little bit with a few soft drinks and whatnot. But at night I was still having a few drinks. And it got to the point where I was on these campsites. We were away for a few weeks. These campsites, and I was starting to go early in the morning. So I identified a couple of bars, because you do that when you're a big drinker, you know. You make a plan, think, where can I get a drink in the morning? Where can I get a drink at night? And we're taking the dog with her, dog. called Lucy, and we used to take the dog for lots of walks to these different bars, you see, because it was started on the campsite. It was a huge place. Most of these campsites are brought up are huge, and you can just nip into the little village and wander. So I was going out to the camp shopping in the morning, on the pretext of getting some milk and bread and a few supplies. And I was nipping into either a bar or one of the local little, convenience places where everywhere over there sells alcohol. 8 o'clock in the morning, so every key ring I had, I always had a bottle opener on it, because you have that sort of thing, don't you? And I used to crack a bottle, cut the bottles open, and just walk along the beach, having a bottle of beer in the morning, early in the morning. I mean, they were still raking the sand at that time of day. And then I feel a bit better. But if you start drinking in the morning, early in the morning, you need to drink all day. So then she would suggest, let's go into the town. I already had a couple of drinks. So I used to make the excuses of, oh, well, let's just cycle in, let's get a taxi down, or get a bus in or something, at Santa Paz or wherever. And I started to feel very stressed then, because of the stress of trying to hide this. She didn't know I was an alcoholic, you see. So I'm starting to hide a few bottles around the camper van, underneath and all that sort of thing. Now, a camper van's not like a house. You can't hide stuff particularly well, but I tried my best. But the amount of times I was sneaking out all the time, I started to feel worse and worse and worse. But I was trying to desperately claw back this feeling of being well again. I couldn't get it back. I couldn't get the sober feeling back. When I tried to cut down a bit, as I said, I started to feel edgy, a bit faint, and shaking a little bit in the morning. So I ended up, we ended up driving a bit more through Europe, through Austria, and through Italy and all these sort of places. But I was very nervous about driving on motorways. In case something happened, I couldn't get off. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I had panic attacks, I was sweating all the time. And it's worse when you're away from your home, as it were, isn't it? Because you know what's going to happen to you. So in the end, I persuaded her to do the motorway driving, which again caused more tension. And I was doing the minor routes. I didn't mind the minor routes. I could like hug the curve, as it were. But driving over some of these Austrian mountains and things, I mean, there's virtually no safety rails on some of the places. And you can see right down the right and on the other side, just sheer drops off the mountainside. Why the hell have you come this way? We could have gone the motorway. I just can't drive in the motorway. And this all happened within a few weeks, few months of just on from that one drink. And then after that, I got back. That split up that relationship, and I was left on my own, basically not on my own, but I started drinking a bit more and a bit more and a bit more from then on, through 2015, 16, and then it got much worse. And then 2019, I was admitted to hospital with huge complications from liver disease. So that's how quickly it can come back to you. So when you think you're going to have just this one, you're never going to return to social drinking again. That's the thing. It's hard to, put the bed in your head and think, right, I can't have another drink for the rest of my life. But you've got to look at it one day at a time, really. But going back to when you were younger, or when you were able to go for a drink and have a few pints and have a laugh, that happened a few times when I was younger, but I've soon got into the habit of drinking too much. And if you have been a heavy drinker, you're not going to get that feeling of, let's have a few drinks, let's enjoy myself, let's tomorrow have a bit of a lie in and feel great. That's not going to happen. If you're alcohol dependent, or you're slipping into alcoholism, or even if you're just a heavy drinker, as you get older, it's going to get harder. So beware of that one drink, yeah. You've got to watch out for relapse. Because relapse to me is the biggest killer. You cannot relapse, okay? If you've got any problems, get in touch with me, get in touch with the doctor, get in touch with the AA, get in touch with anybody. But don't do it in isolation like I did, because I suffered in isolation. There's a lot of subscribers on here who will help you. A lot of people with a lot of experience of life in general, and obviously alcohol. There's people who are, in the medical field as well, also joining us here. So it's a good place to be here. You get some backup, that's the main thing. Now, if you benefit from the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can get notified of any new videos. Join the conversation, get involved, and like I said, don't do it yourself, and don't have that one drink, okay? I'll speak to you all soon.